Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about two foods that are, well, pretty much everywhere: bread and rice. So many of us love them, but we don't always love how they make us feel afterward. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can actually enjoy these common carbs without all those negative side effects.
You know that feeling, right? You have a really nice meal, maybe with some pasta or a side of rice, and you feel great. But then, like clockwork, maybe an hour later, bam, you're hit with this wave of fatigue, you can't focus, and you're already thinking about what you can snack on. It's a super frustrating cycle, and I promise you, it is not just in your head. There's a real biological reason for it.
So, what's actually going on inside your body to cause that post-carb crash? Well, it all boils down to one single, very dramatic event happening in your bloodstream.
And the main culprit is something called a blood sugar spike. All this means is you get this super fast, really high rise in your blood glucose, that's sugar, and it happens incredibly quickly, usually within just 30 to 60 minutes after you eat. And when all that glucose from those simple carbs hits your system all at once, well, that's where the trouble really begins. This lays out the chain reaction perfectly. So you eat the carbs, your body breaks them down into glucose really, really fast. That glucose then floods your bloodstream, which kind of sends a panic signal to your pancreas. Your pancreas then overreacts and releases this huge flood of insulin to deal with all that sugar. But here's the kicker: it often does too good of a job, pushing way too much glucose out of your blood, and that leads directly to that infamous crash. And look, this isn't just about feeling tired in the afternoon. When this spike and crash roller coaster happens over and over, day after day, the long-term risks get pretty serious. We're talking about things like insulin resistance, which is when your body's cells basically start ignoring insulin. And that's a direct path to type 2 diabetes, not to mention chronic inflammation and even damage to your blood vessels. So yeah, managing these spikes is about a lot more than just your daily energy. Okay, I know that sounds pretty intense, but here is the good news. We don't have to live in fear of carbs. There's a totally different way to think about this. A new approach that's all about smart management, not total elimination. And this, right here, is the core message of this whole explainer. The goal isn't to declare war on bread or give up rice for good. No way. The goal is to get smarter. It's about turning that sharp, painful spike into a much more gentle, manageable curve.
And just look at the difference here. It's literally night and day. On the left, with the spike, you get energy crashes, crazy cravings, and then awful brain fog. But on the right, with that gentle curve, you get stable energy. You feel full and satisfied, and you can actually focus. That's what we're aiming for. That's the win.
So the big question is, how do we actually do it? Well, we've got a toolkit for you. 6 science-backed strategies to help you flatten that curve. Let's count them down.
Kicking things off at number 6, this one's a cool little kitchen hack.
It's the cook, cool, reheat method, specifically for rice. When you cook rice and then let it cool all the way down in the fridge, something kind of magical happens. A portion of its starch actually changes form and becomes something called resistant starch. Now, this type of starch digests way more slowly, which means a much gentler rise in your blood sugar, even after you reheat it to eat. All right, on to number 5. And this one is a fundamental rule for how you should build your plate. The rule is simple: never eat a naked carb. Eating a piece of bread or a scoop of rice all by itself is like sending that glucose on an express train straight to your bloodstream. To slow that train down, you have to pair it with some friends: protein, fiber, or healthy fats. These guys slow down digestion, they slow down absorption, and they basically buffer the impact of those carbs.
Coming in at number 4, this strategy is a total game changer. And it's not about what you eat, it's about when you eat it during a meal.
Believe it or not, the order you eat your food in can have a huge impact. So if you start your meal with your vegetables, that's your fiber, you create this sort of protective mesh lining in your stomach. It acts like a buffer, slowing down the absorption of whatever you eat next. So the new rule is: eat your salad or broccoli first, then your chicken or fish, and save that piece of bread or that rice for the very end of the meal. Number 3 is simple, it's free, and it is incredibly effective. All you have to do is get moving.
Just taking a simple 10-minute walk within about 30 minutes of finishing your meal can work wonders. Now, why is that? It's because when your muscles contract, they pull glucose directly out of your bloodstream to use for energy. No insulin needed. You are literally, manually lowering your own blood sugar. And it doesn't have to be a big workout. A simple, gentle stroll is perfect.
Strategy number 2 is all about working with your body's natural daily rhythms, not against them.
See, your body is generally much better at processing carbohydrates earlier in the day when you're more active. So you might want to think about making breakfast or lunch your main carb meal. Then you can shift to a dinner that's more focused on protein and vegetables. This one little timing change can give you way more stable energy and even help you sleep better.
And that brings us to our number 1 strategy. Now, this one is super potent, but it comes with a very important warning, so listen up.
It's the vinegar trick. Turns out the acetic acid in vinegar seems to slow down how fast our bodies digest starches, which can really help flatten a glucose spike. The key is to do it safely. You always dilute 1 tablespoon in a big glass of water, and you sip it before or during your meal. But, and this is crucial, if you have any issues with acid reflux or gastritis, this one is not for you. Just skip it.
Okay, that was a lot of information, I know. 6 different strategies. But please don't feel overwhelmed and don't feel like you have to do all of them at once. The real key here is to build a sustainable plan that actually works for you and your life. And this, right here, might be the most important takeaway of all. Don't aim for perfection. Just aim for consistency. Pick 1 or 2 of these strategies that seem the easiest to you. You know, maybe it's just that 10-minute walk, or maybe it's remembering to eat your salad first. Master those. Because building small, sustainable habits, that's what creates real, lasting change.
So let's just end with this one thought. We so often think of health as being all about restriction, about all the things we have to give up. But what if it's actually simpler than that? What if one of the biggest keys to mastering your health isn't about elimination at all, but about something as simple as sequence and timing? That's definitely something to think about.
If you found this video helpful, please like it, share it with a friend who might need it, and subscribe to HealthPulse Hub for more simple health tips.